What up?
Hi.
This is Wheel Takes, brought to you not live by sleep deprivation. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
This is a podcast about the Wheel of Time, a series of fantasy novels by Robert Jordan, completed by Brandon Sanderson. Also a show currently helmed by Rayfaniel Jedkins. That's not his name.
Which we're going to see tomorrow. For the first episode, anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Little fan event.
Incredibly late. I acted all day, and then we drove 15 miles to see a play, and I'm very tired. But I'm going to pretend I'm not. This is a podcast about the Wheel of Time. I already said that? That's the part where you're going to be able to tell I am tired. I'm Gus. Whew. I've read all of them.
And I'm Allie, and I am a first-time reader on Book 12, Chapter 29.
This podcast...
Is that right?
32.
Oh.
This podcast only contains spoilers for what Allie's already read. And again, today, that's everything up to
true.
And including The Gathering Storm, Chapter 32.
Chapter 32.
Which is called Nynaeve Gets a Point of View Again, and we're really happy about it.
We're all very excited about this.
Because it's been a long time since Nynaeve's had a point of view chapter.
I'm so happy.
Aren't you?
Yeah.
Aren't you?
I was very excited to see her again.
She showed up and I was like, oh, we haven't done this in a minute. And you know what the biggest tell is that we haven't done a Nynaeve chapter in a minute?
How happy I was?
There's another one.
I don't know.
I haven't gotten to do the creative Nynaeve cursing.
Oh my God,
There's a particular
right.
kind of swearing that only
How
gets
long
to
has it
happen when you
been?
do... It's been, well, I looked this up,
we had
actually.
one POV of her with the golden crane rides for time.
Yeah, there were like 2 in Knife of Dreams. Let me see here. More Nynaeve point of view. Don't look too closely at this. She's got 46 through Crown of Swords, and then she has 2 in Winter's Heart, 1 in Knife of Dreams, and she's had 1 so far in Gathering Storm. So basically what happened was she got married and she stopped having point of view chapters.
Well, that's because married women are irrelevant, Gus. I should know. I've stopped being relevant years ago.
That's completely untrue.
No, it's true. The ring on this finger, I disappear from view. Just fade into the background.
I don't think that's correct.
An old crone that no one likes to look at anymore. Yellow, and our wallpaper is yellow, and there's something weird about it.
That's a surprisingly deep cut.
Is it?
For some, because or maybe
stop what
it's
you're
not.
doing and go read the yellow wallpaper.
Yellow wallpaper, I guess, is pretty damn good.
You guess? Have you read the yellow wallpaper?
Yeah, I probably have. Again, I'm operating on...
Probably have. It's haunting.
I'm operating on something like a cumulative 15 hours of sleep over the past 3 to 4 days. And I acted for 9 hours today.
And
Not on a project that anybody can see, but it was a good thing that's useful for me for later. I can't talk too much. Well, I could actually talk about it, but I won't. How about that? This one stays with me. Well, I don't know. There's no reason for that. I was shooting footage of scenes I've acted before for use and submit. Hi. What? Where are we? What are we talking about?
I recently learned to unlock my jaw.
Big day.
Yeah, I was at the acupuncturist. Yeah. This is a really big deal, actually.
Really is, actually. She's gobsmacked, or rather loosed, because your gob is your mouth and your mouth is less clenched.
Yeah.
This is going to be one of those episodes where people reach out to me and go, oh my God, are you okay? I'm fine. I just need to go to sleep soon. But I'm going to push through this because I'm actually really excited to be here. I always am.
I learned that at the acupuncturist that your jaw is not supposed to have your teeth together when your mouth is closed and you're relaxed.
Not in a baseline.
I didn't know.
Not all the time.
I didn't know that I've been clenching my jaw 24 hours a day for 32 years.
This explains why you need the teeth thing.
My mouth guard?
Yeah.
Yeah, it explains why I have TMJ, shoulder tension, neck tension.
You know what? Maybe somebody should tell Randall Thor
to unclench his jaw.
Unclench your jaw.
Unclench a lot of things,
and
honestly.
That's all he'll need to do. All of a sudden, all the weird suicidal nihilism will go away.
Yeah.
The weird Taviran that he's using right now will go away. the not bizarrely, actually, it makes sense with his character, the aggressively cavalier and nonchalantly nihilistic attitude he has towards Lan.
It's not likable, I'm going to be honest.
It's rough, man. He's being a dick to every single person, even Nynaeve a little bit. And if you're mean to Nynaeve,
a lot of bit.
Let's be nerdy, we'll kill you.
Even Nynaeve a lot of bit.
Kind of very much.
Yeah, he's like, I hope your husband dies well. You know what is like not
it was
something
barely
that's cool
even
to say
dies
to somebody?
well. It was more of a, well, if his dumb ass decides to ride into the blight without me, then he'll fucking die, and that's what he gets. And Nynaeve was like,
what an insensitive, asshole-ish thing to say. Like, truly just go sit on an ant's nest, honestly.
I like the part in this chapter.
Go sit on a fire anthill.
Tell me if you remember this part in this chapter where he like snaps at Nynaeve and then he's like, wow, I thought I had that under control. Better push those emotions down even harder.
I don't know about that, Chief.
That isn't how that works. That's not healthy emotional regulation. If your model for emotional regulation is Rand al'Thor in The Gathering Storm, I am going to suggest you seek an alternate, what was the word I just said? Inspiration for your role model, for your emotional management of yourself. Allie, this is what I need to know because I haven't said it yet. I just realized. Where did we leave? Oh, this is one of those. Where did we leave off?
I don't know.
Don't ask me. I haven't slept.
I don't know.
Okay, let's find out.
Who are we checking in with?
I think it was Rand. No, it was Cadsuane, wasn't it?
Yeah. No. Cadsuane's this chapter. Rand was looking at Cadsuane, right?
Yeah, it was Gawain, actually.
Oh, that's why I
Gawain
forgot.
fucked around a little bit.
That's why I forgot.
But we're picking it up here with chapter 31, A Promise to Lose Theron. There's the logo. What is it?
It's Cadsuane's little hair stuff.
It's the hairnet thing. Everybody's favorite thing. I actually quite like that thing. You have any notes for 31?
I do.
Oh my god.
Cadsuane continues to stay slaying despite her haters. Dab on those haters, Queen. Remember dabbing. Do the children still do dabbing?
I'm sure some do.
Okay, Cads, we are absolutely about to jump into Rand's POV and he's going to know it's you. She was like going around going, I don't know if he knows it's me. I'm like, he does.
It's funny too because she's not doing this on purpose.
What?
Being around Rand. He was like, she's following me. And then she go to her perspective. She's like, fuck, there he is again.
And then I said,
I'm back in the fucking building again.
Excuse me. And then I said, what did I say? Because I knew.
That's what happened.
Rourke sighting.
My main man.
This is mean for no reason. He just keeps taunting this woman with killing her. And it's just dickish.
He's doing it because he's like, I'm going to get her to do what I want by threatening her into submission. And I hate her because she tortured this guy, which she did.
Yeah. But I don't know. This just seems like overkill. I don't know.
Chapter 31, A Promise to Lose Theron. Cadsuane kept her cloak on, hood up, despite the mugginess that strained her ability to ignore the heat. She dared not lower the hood or remove the cloak. al'Thor's words had been specific. If he saw her face, she would be executed. She wouldn't risk her life to prevent a few hours of discomfort, even if she thought al'Thor was safely back in his newly appropriated mansion. Okay, so what's she up to?
She is snooping.
She's snooping. She's like, I gotta figure out how I can still not completely fuck up the task I undertook for myself while also not being put to death by the man who I'm trying to help. Unfortunately,
this seems like a healthy dynamic.
Unfortunately, my help many times has been slapping him in the face, which isn't great.
Wonder why he wants to kill you.
You know, it isn't ideal. Well, yeah, she goes to this inn.
I mean, he kind of seems to want to kill everybody.
He does now kind of want to seem to kill everybody, which arguably would keep the Dark One from winning. You kill everyone, then the Dark One can't win any. He can't do anything. I guess that would work. You just blow the shit up, just destroy everything. It would work.
I guess technically that would work.
That would work. I wouldn't advise it. Rand.
Why not?
Then you also lost.
I'm just kidding.
And you can't give people a hug after that. There's no hugs. Okay, so Cadsuane is going down to the docks. She's going down to this inn. It's called the Wind's Favor. Tell me about the Wind's Favor. Tell me about Quill and Taisel.
They run an inn.
Yeah.
and they're a couple, right?
Quillen Tassel is one person.
Oh, well, he has a wife.
Yes.
Who tells him all the gossip.
She was the breadwinner, I guess. Or no, was she? Yeah, she was the breadwinner. She's a retired merchant. And then she retired, and he was like, darling, with all of our massive amounts of wealth, I would like to open an inn.
Slay.
It's amazing. Tell me about this inn. What do you remember about this inn?
It's a good inn.
Is it?
It's not.
What is?
Is it a front?
No, it's an inn.
No.
It's a legitimate inn.
And what's wrong with it?
Nothing wrong necessarily.
There's just no people.
But if you come in with your shoes slightly dirty, the innkeeper will kick you out until you've scuffed them on the floor and made sure that that there's no mud on them. And he's just incredibly strict with the cleanliness of his inn.
And why shouldn't he be?
It's not that he shouldn't be. It's just that it's funny because then nobody comes to his inn because like somebody comes in with a little mud and he's like, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out.
I stand by that.
It's funny. Fun fact, by the way.
I'd go to the inn.
Quillen Tassel is based on a real person.
Who?
Is named after, maybe not based on, is named after a real person. He is named after, I think he's one of the guys who founded or runs Encyclopedia Watt.
Oh, really?
Yep. Quillen Tassel, Domani Innkeeper in the Gathering Storm. Bob Quillen Klutz, the webmaster of Encyclopedia Watt, the website that I have open right now.
That's so cool.
Because it is my favorite Wheel of Time reference website.
We've met him, right?
Chapter. No, we've met Gary.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there are a lot of these. You know, at least one other one is Matt Hatch and Baird at the beginning of you know that this is a character because we spoke to Tom from Dragonman about this, that he told you that he is the first point of view in Memory of Light.
I knew that.
There's also Denzel.
Who's that?
Jason Denzel.
Oh, wow.
There's a ton of them. You see this massive list I'm scrolling through?
That's so cool.
These are people whose names got pulled out of charity events or otherwise just kind of yanked by Sanderson and Team Jordan to be put into the Wheel of Time. This, by the way, goes back long before Sanderson started. As far as I know, there's some of these in like Path of Daggers. Obviously, Charles Gaibon is one. But they really, really started ramping it up, mostly to my understanding, as sort of a charity thing. You'd like
so cool.
Give money to charity to have your name put into this auction to be pulled out and put into the books themselves. Some of them are more clearly based on real names than others. As I recall, this one's cool. Deep Badar, Ashaman, Oddities, Deep Bandari, did your parents name you with the expectation that you'd end up in a fantasy novel? That's cool.
Cute.
I'm not going to look at this too closely. There might be minor spoilers.
Okay.
Some surprisingly major characters are named after real people as things go on.
Cool.
Is Deep Badari one of them? Maybe. Maybe not. Okay.
Okay, so
Cadsuane goes to this inn.
Okay, here's the other thing that I know about these people. Cadsuane, I thought this was really clever on her part. She, their daughter is an Aes Sedai, and Cadsuane kind of like befriended them because she thought it might be useful one day to have like ears on the ground in Eredamon, and now it's paying off.
Very cool.
I just thought that was clever.
Worked out. Very, very smart plan on her part. What is everybody trying to do? What is the thrust of this section of the book?
Gather information.
On what? Because a lot of the times, in earlier books especially, we kind of go to a town and we're kind of looking around for stuff in a very
general fashion.
We are looking for something very specific.
I forget.
Someone very specific. Two someones very specific.
Well, one of them is the messenger guy.
Yes. Why are we looking for the messenger guy?
Because he might know where the king is.
That's right. So Al-Salam is one of them. And the other person who we are trying to find
is...
And the idea being that if we find Al-Salam, we will find her.
Oh, the co-ruler lady?
Much worse.
Oh, Grendel.
Grendel. That's really kind of what we're aiming at here, right? Is
find Grendel.
Find the Grendel, save the Grendel. Or don't. What was that? Heroes? Save the cheerleaders? I never watched that show.
Save the cheerleaders, save the world.
Never watched it.
First season is very, very good.
That's what I've heard, is that the first season is incredibly good.
Very good.
That's good.
Hayden Panettiere's finest work.
That's cool.
Also Zachary Quinto in it.
Was he... what did he
Spock.
do? Spock. He was Spock. Okay. I was going to say, it was like Carl Urban. Then I was like, no, he's McCoy. He was good in those movies.
Zachary Quinto was in Heroes.
That's cool.
As well. He played the bad guy.
All right, here's the thing. Cadsuane, she's gathering in. She's like, well, maybe... She's doing kind of the same thing Nynaeve is a little bit, where she's like, well, maybe I can just kind of figure some shit out myself. She goes down to the Wind's Favor, the inn. The slender innkeeper, Quillen Tassel, was a tall, oval-faced Andorran man. Thinning on top, with dark, short hair at the sides of his head, he wore a full beard, trimmed short, which was almost all gray. He generally had good information, but was also willing to look into inquiries for her among his associates. A very useful man indeed. And we get a lot of description about his inn, which is funny. Her name here is Mistress Shore. Which is fun.
That's fun.
This is fun. The inn seems to be doing well, she said politely, causing him to turn and look over his few patrons. They seemed uncomfortable to be sitting at immaculate tables atop a gleaming floor.
God forbid a Virgo have an inn.
Cadsuane wasn't certain if it was the intimidating cleanliness that kept people away from the Wind's Favor, or if it was Quillen's insistence on never hiring gleemen or musicians to perform. He claimed they spoiled the atmosphere.
God forbid a man hate music.
As she watched, he noticed that a new patron entered, tracking in mud.
This inn is like quiet and
clean. She could see Quillen's fingers itching to go scrub the floor. You there, Quillen called to the man. Scrape your shoes before coming in, if you please. The man froze, frowning, but went back to do as instructed. Quillen
feel
sighed
like that's unreasonable.
And moved over to sit at her table. As a reminder, there's about 6 people in this inn. Frankly, Mistress Shore, it gets a little too busy here lately for my taste. Can't keep track of all my patrons sometimes. People go without drink waiting for me to get to them. You could hire help. A serving girl or two. What? And let them have all the fun. He said it in all seriousness. He just loves this. This is his hobby. This is his hyperfixation, and I'm so happy for him. This is adorable.
Autistic Quillen.
I love this character so much. Yeah.
I say that as a member of the neurodivergent community in case someone's new here.
She goes, what news of the city, Quillen? And she tries to give him some money, and he goes, Mistress, you offend. I couldn't take your coin. And she's like, just take the fucking money and tell me. And so he does. And we got some information in here. And then, what news of the city? Where should I start? There's almost too much to keep track of lately. Start with Al-Salam. When was he last seen? And what is the answer to this?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. A really fucking long time.
And at first they thought the Council of Merchants took him.
Yeah.
Right? For some kind of political move. But they've been so in chaos that it's like, actually, they might not have anything to do with this.
Yeah. We know where he is, of course.
Grendel has him.
Yeah. This food is also spoiling.
That's troublesome.
As has continued to happen. Some of the people in the city are blaming the Aiel because they're new.
Because they're racist.
They're racist.
They're also blaming the Aes Sedai.
It can be hard
and
to
Rand.
remember things like that in the face of so much bad grain.
Because they talk about the Aiel, and some people think the Aiel are poisoning the food. And she goes, but food was spoiling in the country long before the Aiel arrived, wasn't it?
Yes, of course, but it can be hard to remember things like that in the face of so much bad grain. Besides, spoilage has grown much worse since the Lord Dragon arrived.
I feel like someone is doing that to sow dissension.
Perhaps. And the other strange occurrences in the city?
You've heard of those, then. People don't like to speak of them, of course, but my sources hear things. Stillborn children, men dying from falls that should barely have caused a bruise, stones toppling from buildings and striking women dead as they trade. Dangerous times, my lady. I hate to pass on mere hearsay, but I've seen the numbers myself.
So, this might also be an effect of Rand's really shitty Taviran. Is that he's spoiling food?
Well, I was thinking about that, but I think it might be something else.
Of course, there are the balances.
Balances?
Marriage is on the rise, children who encounter wild beasts but escape unharmed, unexpected fortunes discovered beneath the floorboards of a pauper's home, that sort of thing.
That certainly would be nice. We can wish and hope, my lady.
You've heard no such stories?
No, my lady. I can ask around if you wish.
So apparently, as you pointed out last week, remember how the Taviran used to do good and bad things? Mm-hmm. It only does bad things now.
Well, maybe because Rand is aiming it at people.
He is aiming it at people a little bit.
Fucking dumb.
So they get more da-da-da-da-da-da details, and then she leaves, and whatever. Kind of, not whatever. This is an interesting note. She's like, I fucked up with Rand. However, he massively overreacted in sending me away because the Seanchan had other male IDOM. So this was not the only place somebody could have gotten their hands on one.
It's true.
They did this specifically to make him not like me, which I think might be true.
I think that is true. I think Cadsuane is helping him in her way.
Yeah, she's not perfect.
No, but he needs guidance. He needs somebody that's helping him.
It does always baffle me when people, including Sanderson, frequently highlight Cadsuane as far and away one of their least favorite characters.
That's because people hate older women.
That's true. A lot of people do hate older women. It's unfortunate.
That's implying that Brandon Sanderson hates older women, but...
No, I don't think that.
I understand some of the reasons why she's disliked, but I also think that some of them... I think that the women in this series get an unfortunate amount of flack from the fandom.
I agree with that. We can talk about that more when we're not both dead tired.
We've talked about it many times.
We have.
I don't need to talk about it again.
Okay. All right, so...
But I think Cadsuane can be included in their number.
I would agree with that. Okay, so Althor, she had to face the truth. She had bungled her handling of him. You might say she beefed it. Of course... She hadn't made any mistakes with the male IDOM. Whatever Althor claimed, whoever had stolen the collar had been exceedingly powerful and crafty. Anyone capable of such a feat could just as easily have fetched another male IDOM from the Seanchan. They were likely to have plenty of them. Because they totally did copy those. I think, didn't they? Did I make that up?
Probably.
I think they did. She's like, well, now what do I do? Because now he's going really bad. Like, is it better for him to just die before he gets there? And then she's like, no, that's not better. That would be worse. Mm-hmm. And as you pointed out, she goes to the docks and looks around and stuff and accidentally runs into Rand and then notices that he appears to have a dark cloud around him whenever she sees him out of the corner of her eye. But if she looks directly at him, it goes away. Mm-hmm. What's that?
The dark cloud?
He has a dark cloud surrounding his head if you catch him in your peripheral vision.
Depression?
It's kind of that, probably. It might also have something to do with the negative way he's using Taviran. It might also have something to do with the true power.
Might have something to do with Morden being in his head.
Might have something to do with Morden taking up residence. Any number of options there, I think.
Yeah. Many, many options. Rand's got a lot going on.
Yeah. If he really was that far gone, then there wasn't anything that would help him. That meant she had nothing to lose. Nothing but the world itself. And then she goes to hang out with some Aiel who all like her. The Aiel are, in many ways, and often impeccable judges of character, in my opinion. And sometimes they're not. But she talks about how much she likes Cerelia and how much Cerelia likes her. And she goes in to meet with Cerelia.
Cerelia is my favorite character.
Old Lady Squad.
I love Old Lady Squad.
Cerelia nodded to Cadsuane as she entered. She was all bone, thin and leathery, yet never could a person think her frail. Not with those eyes set into a face that, despite being worn by wind and sun, was too young for her age. How was it that the wise ones could live so long, yet not obtain the Aes Sedai agelessness? That was a question Cadsuane had not been able to answer, because you haven't read the book, Cadsuane. You don't know what we know.
But I know. Oh no, Cadsuane pulling a Perrin. You're
telling me. And she goes in and sits down and stares Cerelia in the eyes and goes, I have failed. The wise one nodded, as if she had thought this same thing. Cadsuane forced herself not to show her annoyance. There is no shame in the failure, Bear said, when that failure was the fault of another. Amis nodded. The Karakar is stubborn beyond all men, Cadsuane said I. You have no toe toward us. Shame or toe, it will all be irrelevant soon, but I have a plan. Will you help me? The wise ones shared a look among them. What is this plan? Cerelia asked. Cadsuane smiled, then began to explain. And then we changed perspective to keep the dramatic tension up. Are we going to get an answer to this book, or is this going to be like the Borderlanders? slowly marching across the countryside towards Rand with their end goal.
Marching.
Their end goal that is a big-time secret.
Marching
and we can never
stops.
talk, and we got to make sure that nobody knows we're
never
here.
Stop marching again. What if, and they're all high, and they're like, what if we march forever?
That's very
And then they freak each other out.
relatable and funny. Do you think we're going to get an answer on Cadsuane's plan soon? What might it be? Spin me a yarn, my love.
Okay, what evidence do we have?
None.
Then I have to make it up?
She thinks that there's she has nothing to lose. And he's gone. He's so far gone. She needs to figure out how she could possibly reach him. What other evidence do we have? Visiting the docks was useless.
She dresses up as a hot girl. She mirror Miss into a hot girl.
He didn't seem to trust anyone save perhaps for Min, but Min had resisted every attempt the Cadsuane had made at involving her. I guess the closest thing we could get to
involve Avienda.
The only other time we see Cadsuane this chapter is when she sees Nynaeve and kind of looks at her and like nods at her. And Nynaeve is like, is that respect or does she hate me? Because it seems like she hates everybody. That's the only other time we see her in this
She doesn't hate everybody. She's just busy.
Yeah.
She's busy and she's blunt. God forbid a woman doesn't smile all the time. Okay. Perhaps, I mean, she's been spending a lot of time with the Aiel and the wise ones. Perhaps her plan is to go
slap the shit out of him. She tried that. Sorry, go ahead.
Avienda?
Maybe.
The other key to his heart?
Could be. Get Elaine to write him so many letters that he just fucking dies.
And Avienda finally gets to fuck Rand again because she hasn't in 80.
She did do that exactly once. She has had sex with Rand
like, I don't
as
need to do
many
that again.
times as Elaine has.
Well, that's because she really has the hots for Elaine.
I think so. Min and Rand? Oh my goodness.
Elaine and Avienda slept together at that inn.
You remember?
And you cannot convince me otherwise.
You remember? Yeah, well, there's about a million fucking chapters.
There's 2
where I'm
points
like, it's
where
gay, right?
There's 2 points.
It's gay.
There's several points Min and Avienda have had sex. Or no, Elaine and Avienda.
No, yeah, Elaine and Avienda, God, yeah.
Have had sex. The first was the time she took her top off and was like, do what you will. That happened. That's the first time. Second time, well, they talked about whispering in the night and other things.
But it turned out they were talking about boys.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. No. Whispering in the night is talking about boys. Other things is fucking, and you know it and I know it.
Would you say they were speaking a more cunning language?
How dare you? I am a feminist. I'm just kidding.
How is that not feminist?
No, it's very feminist.
I'm sorry.
No, that is actually cunnilingus is feminist.
Yeah.
Pass it on.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what we were talking about?
Oh, don't even play.
I thought they were just flirting. Wordplay, cunning language.
Don't even Don't even play with
All right.
me.
Okay. Is that what Elaine said? Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm gonna stop now.
Is what would Lane say?
Don't even play with. Never mind.
Oh. That was clever, guys. Oh my god.
I broke her. It's well after midnight. Do you know if my wife is broken? This is my parent moment. Has anybody seen my wife? It's my favorite thing to do at conventions. If I can't find you, if I don't know where you are, is I walk up to a crowd of people who know both of us and I say, at the risk of sounding like Perrin, does anybody know where my wife is?
Does it kill every time?
It gets a laugh most times. Of course, now that I've shared that,
It'll still get a laugh.
Get a laugh again.
No, that's not true because you beat jokes until they're not
really
tired,
do.
and then you bring them back
do.
by just persistence.
I just keep fucking going. So anyway, Elaine and Avienda fucking, Min and Rand fucking, and where the fuck? How do we get on this shit? Oh yeah, her plan. That's a good idea. And then we switch perspective, and now we're with Rand. What's up with him? He doing good? He doing great. He recovered in the past thing. He had a quick revelation. He did a little thing. He sat around. He did some Zen shit. Climbed up a mountain. Talked to somebody. Had a moment. Thought and meditated and looked around and the beams.
Guys, Rand is never doing well.
No,
we don't have to ask that question ever again.
No, it's repetitive and it's a waste of time to ask that. I don't know why I bothered. Okay.
Now you're sounding like Rand.
Yeah, probably is what Rand's internal monologue is like. It's just a shitty little sort of thing.
But
then it's like, but no, that's despair.
The trouble I've seen.
He's like a furious nihilist.
Nobody knows but Jesus.
So his is like this sort of thing, but it's interspersed occasionally with just horrific shrieking.
Knows the trouble I've seen. Glory, hallelujah.
So we switched
one time.
Yes.
You remember when we were on the train that one time and you refused to go get me pizza from the...
Nobody knows the pizza I don't have.
Nobody knows but Gustav.
Yeah.
Nobody knows the pizza I don't have
because he won't get me any. We're going to take an ad break. Welcome back.
He wouldn't get me pizza.
I did, though, ultimately.
Oh, yeah, because I kept singing the song until you did.
What's Rand got going on? Anything in particular? What's he do here? He's a dick is what he does here.
Every time he talks, I'm like, fuck you. Boo, I hate you. And all the Rand stands are mad. I'll like him again.
Yeah, that's what happens. You go through journeys with these characters.
No.
And the only ones you consistently hate
you can't
are
have
Talonvor.
A journey. You have to know what I know.
There's some people who feel that way, I feel like.
There are.
It's wild.
We've gotten messages.
Yeah, that's true. It's like you're on book 3 and you're like, I don't really think he's handling this well. And so just people go like, how dare you? Don't you know what he's been through? And we're like, well, he's not real. And also, no.
That happened with you.
Notably.
That happened with you with Finnick in the Hunger Games. You were
Everybody
like,
got mad at me because I was like, this is a 22-year-old man hitting on a 25-year-old man, hitting on a fucking 17-year-old in a really creepy way. And I don't like this. And everybody was like, Gus, you want to get pinned down to a rock and have your fucking liver ripped out by an eagle? Because that's what you deserve. And I was like, excuse me? Why are we condoning this?
In the spoiler chat, I had to be like, y'all need to chill. He let him have his journey. God.
I went to Bree and I was like, why are we all okay with Finnick? And she was like, read the book. I understand what you're saying right now.
Yeah, what you were saying was completely reasonable. And by the way, I thought the same fucking thing. I was like, who's this fucking creepazoid who is hitting on my girl Katniss when he's 25?
Rand is doing horribly badly. Thinking about it, like, kind of funny that Cadsuane's just walking around with a hoodie on all the time. And then he's like, maybe I'll go look at the grain. And then he goes, fuck that. That's something we would do in a parent chapter in Crossroads of Twilight. I don't need to know shit about no weevils. So he goes down to the docks and he's looking around. He's talking. And what are they planning, Allie? Big meeting. Big meeting. Big meeting. What is it? Big one. We've been looking forward to it for about 100 books now. Because it was inevitable. It's like Thanos. I am inevitable. That's not what Thanos sounds like. What's the meeting? Who's it with? Your friend and mine. Number 1 daughter of all the 9 of them. It's your girl.
It's goddamn
Tuon.
And I hope she dies.
Allie, it's peace with the Seanchan. Peace with the Seanchan.
This is turning into me into a
peace with the Seanchan. Peace.
Would you like to continue interrupting me?
With the Seanchan.
No, you're right. Your turn.
Peace with the Seanchan.
This bit is the best bit. I love this bit. Thank you so much for this bit.
With the
Seanchan.
You were saying?
I don't.
Peace with the Shanshan. I'm trying to replicate the feeling that you get whenever you read Peace with the Shanshan. I'm trying to make you feel that way right now.
No more.
Or you want anything else to be happening, but instead we're talking about Peace with the Shanshan. I'm going to get you a shirt. It's going to have the goose on it. It's going to say Geese with the Shanshan.
Oh my God.
That's the next one. That's the next goose sweatshirt. We've found it. This is our $1 million idea. I got to figure out how to make money off of this. It's simply too good. You shouldn't have let me record tonight. This is the kind of shit coming out of my mouth now, man.
I'm so tired that I can't even talk.
Okay, Rand, he's like,
I'm just like, okay.
Are they gonna want to meet in Qatar? Not Qatar. That's an actual place. Qatar. Okay, so we've taken Qatar and we've mispronounced it. I think it's pronounced Qatar. I'm probably wrong. God, what am I? Okay, they're gonna try to meet in Qatar.
In real life, it is Qatar.
Qatar, yeah. Okay, and now it's Qatar, which is not real, and they're gonna try to meet in Qatar, and they said, "Fuck that, too far, not our business. I'm not going all the way over there." She goes, "Well, my lord, it's just my gut feeling, but I don't think they'll accept Qatar for the meeting place. They always grow difficult when Lord Bashir or I mention it, claiming they'll have to seek further instructions from the daughter of the 9 moons. Their tones imply that the instructions will be that the location is unacceptable." And Rand is like, it's literally neutral territory. It's neutral fucking territory. And they're like, yeah, but they're dicks. And Rand is like, all right, Falm. We're going to go to Falm. How about that? And they're like, that's like their westernmost border. And Rand is like, yeah, but I fucked this shit up there. I fucked it all up. Fucked up Turok. Fucked all this shit up. Showed up in the sky, flapped my arms around. It was fucking awesome. Nobody knows how that shit worked. Nobody asks any questions about that. Everybody's fine with that. We all just accept that that works, but then any one little other fucking thing happens, changes the metaphysics. Everybody shits their pants and dies. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. Could you repeat all that?
He suggests that they meet in Falm. And then I kind of went off for a minute about some other stuff.
I'm asking you to repeat it.
No. Anyway, he's like, I go to Falm because you know what happened last time I was in Falm? I showed up in the sky. I was projected into the sky like a fucking anime battle. And everybody was fine with that. God forbid Brandon Sanderson do anything with gateways, though. That's a bridge too far. Anime sky battles, that's fine. Gateway manipulation, anything to do with trying to understand the rules of magic? No. Ban. Fuck you, you dweeb, apparently. I'm on one right now. I gotta stop. I gotta fucking stop. Okay. I've broken myself. Okay.
My voice is so dead.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been singing so much this week.
All right. You have, it's been really lovely. So they suggest Falm because of all the reasons I already said. And he suppresses his rage. He goes, we must have peace with the Shanshan. I can't say it anymore.
Why?
Difficulties notwithstanding. And Damer Flynn, based God, goes, differences? I don't rightly think I'd call that a difference, my lord. They want to enslave every one of us. Maybe execute us. They think it's a favor to do either. And Rand just stares at him until he cows his head and goes, sorry, my lord. Burn me if Falm isn't a fine choice. You'll have them watch from the skies with fear. You will, in case you do another anime battle in the sky. And everybody goes, yeah, that just happens here. We're fucking cool. Okay.
This is one of those episodes where I don't have to do anything. You're just going to have a meltdown and I'm going to be quiet and listen.
Oh, my God. Okay. Oh, my God.
I'm just here listening to you go increasingly insane. And going, that's my baby. That's my boo thing. I put a ring on that. I put a ring on that crazy man. I love that crazy man.
So Nynaeve rolls up and she goes, Rand, what's up? And he goes, I'm just thinking about anime battles in the sky.
I like smooching that crazy man.
We will meet them at Falm, he said. She mutters something and she goes, that's a stupid ass idea. And he goes, I can't afford to wait, Nynaeve. This is a risk we must take, but I doubt they will attack. And she goes, did you doubt it last time too? The time when they took your hand? And he goes, well, yeah, they had Semirog that time. It's kind of an unfair advantage and it's probably not going to happen again. She goes, probably not gonna happen. And then he tries to stare wilt her. He tries to fucking miracle wilt her ass into the ground by staring at her, which is all he does now. Is he just holds eye contact for too long. Not all he does. It works. It's creepy, and it makes people incredibly uncomfortable, especially when he's doing whatever the fuck else he's doing. He just stares at people, which is it works, man. It works. But Nynaeve just stares back because Nynaeve doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Remember when she threw a fucking plate at Forsaken? God, I miss Nynaeve chapters. Fuck.
Nynaeve always has the best chapters.
She's the great shit, man.
I know. The women have the best chapters. Have you noticed?
Many of them do. God damn.
Because I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay.
Not Elaine. Not so much. Some of them.
All right, fine. Elaine is the only exception. She's the only boring woman.
Some of them are good.
No, she's not boring. She just has a boring plot line. Slightly boring.
He goes, I cannot
We're
be
going to
sure.
get so many messages being like, how dare you?
It's after midnight. Don't take anything I say seriously. She sniffed in response, indicating that
seriously,
she'd won that argument.
We're so tired. We're being blunt right now.
Well, we'll just have to be extra careful. Perhaps memories of the last time you visited Farm will make them uncomfortable. You know, when you did a big fucking sky battle and everybody went, yay, this is normal. All right.
But Gus, a dragon of flames just doesn't make sense. Just doing a flaming dragon doesn't make sense. How does he know how to channel the dragon? Magic Battle in the Sky Season 2. We're gonna.
I'm good.
We have to build to something.
I'm okay. I'm all right. I
You
wasn't
jumped
even
the
talking
gun
about
way
that.
too early.
I was talking about something else.
Well, I got mad about something additional.
Yeah, that's also valid, man. Okay, all right. Oh, jeez. Oh, boy, it's one of these. Okay.
People are gonna walk out of this.
There's no listeners anymore. They're all
I
gone.
know. I'm trying to alienate every listener we have.
Nynaeve would never make an ideal Aes Sedai. She was far too free with her emotions, particularly her temper. Rand did not find it a fault. At least he always knew where he stood with Nynaeve. She was terrible at games, and that made her valuable. He trusted her. She was one of the few. Good for her. We love her. We stan. And then he's like, maybe I can make Nynaeve my new Cadsuane. That would work. And I'm
Actually?
like, maybe.
Well, no. It wouldn't work.
No.
In terms of like, you would not get 300 years of wisdom.
No, you would get 6 years of wisdom. I forget sometimes
Sorry.
Nynaeve's like 26.
Sorry. Here's the
Our friend who one of the people I was filming with today, slightly older, just older than Nynaeve.
Here's the thing. Let me like ask you my baby sister for
life
advice.
advice. Yeah.
I'm 32 and I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
No. It's not that she's not mature.
Oh no, not at all. That's not the question.
It's not that she's not mature. It's not that she's not like
Nynaeve is incredibly
capable.
mature and capable and talented
Of
and smart and
course.
good and shit. Just you're gonna learn more
But
the longer you're alive.
I'm just gonna be real with you.
In terms of advisory things.
I wouldn't ask. I don't want to be ageist. I just am like, what do you know?
Well, all other things being equal, if I need somebody with a breadth of
Maybe this is
experience,
me
I'm
at
going to pick the
25.
person with more experience. Maybe the 25-year-old's going to have more experience in a given field or more life experience than somebody who never really does anything else.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Entirely possible. But if I just need like a general advisor to give me advice on stuff based on prior experience, I'm not going to pick whoever has more experience.
Yeah, because when you're 25, you have not really been a cognizant
you have less than a
adult for that long.
300-year-old woman. All right, so...
Also, if I were 25, I wouldn't want that responsibility. Actually, me at 25 might have been like, yeah, and then been like
probably. You
so
would
petrified I would have fallen apart.
So he's like, why is Nynaeve being...
But now I would be like, I don't want that kind of responsibility. But if I need to, I know I could step up.
She's like, why is Nynaeve so squirrely? And she's probably thinking about her husband. He goes, have you heard from him? Who? You know who. His actions are none of my concern. None of your concern. The entire world is my concern, Nynaeve. Would you not agree? And then she goes, it'll be fine. And, yeah, you know, we get the rundown and the recap of what already happened here. And Rand is like, that's stupid, kind of. And she's like, well, you know, I set him up as best I could. I gave him as many dudes as I could. And that's good. And Nynaeve goes, he could use some help, regardless. Asking for help always made her uncomfortable. His army will be small. I doubt they'll stand long against the Trollocs. Will he attack? He didn't say, but yes, I think he will. He thinks you're wasting time here, Rand. If he arrives and gathers an army, he finds Trollocs gathered at Tarwin's Gap. Yes, I think he'll attack. Then he deserves what he'll get for riding without the rest of us. And Nynaeve was like, bro, what the fuck? Like, actually, what the fuck? What's wrong with your ass? How can you say that? I must. The last battle is imminent. Perhaps my own attack on the Blight will happen at the same time as Lan's, perhaps not. His death could serve me well indeed. And Nynaeve was like, I gotta leave for a minute. I gotta go over here.
I would leave for a while.
I gotta leave, bro.
He's the worst employer of all time. He's saying all the wrong things.
But actually,
because at the end of the day, he's still their boss.
Nynaeve, who Rand just said could never be a good Aes Sedai because she can't control her temper, manages not to bite Rand's head off after he goes, your husband's death could be a very good thing for me, and instead goes, we will speak of this again, perhaps after you've had a chance to think on exactly what abandoning Lan would mean.
She has grown a lot.
Growth, my God!
A ton.
So much growth.
Because if a man talked about my husband that way, I'd beat his ass to kingdom come. I would beat his ass, and then I would beat his ass again, and then I would beat his ass again, and then I would beat his ass till dawn.
So,
I would then beat his ass till night.
Would you
repeat until the end of the world happened?
Would you beat his ass in an anime battle in the sky? Because I understand that those are completely normal and frankly make perfect sense.
And a perfect ramp up for a second book out of 15.
I think he thought it was going to be 4 at that point.
Because you can absolutely top Magic Battle in the Sky.
It's fun, actually, because Malazan kind of does this a little bit. And there's an interview with Steven Erikson where he talks about there's a certain point where the climaxes go from bigger to smaller, which he does very deliberately. Because one of the books has a fucking crazy big climax. And then the next book is just faced off between 2 people. And somebody was like, well, what a letdown. And he was like, no, it's not. I literally can't get bigger than the last one. So I needed to make it more poignant, meaningful, and smaller. It's interesting. Those are fun books, too. So, not that I've ever talked about that on this podcast before. Okay.
Do you like Malazan, guys?
It sucks. No, it's great. They goes into the thing. He sits down with Rourke, and they've got another one of the Merchant Council, and they're looking for more, and some of them are dead, some of them aren't. And Rand eventually goes to talk to Milicer Chadmar, and he's like, where's that fucking messenger? She's like, yeah, he died. That's my bad. He did die. He shouldn't have, but he died.
Oh, great.
The men I assigned to watch after him, I hadn't realized how poorly they were treating the messenger. They hadn't given him water for days, and the fever struck. In other words, you failed to extract information from him, so you left him in a dungeon to rot, only remembering where he was when I demanded he be produced. And Jelani, the maiden, goes, you know, she was trying to run a minute ago. And Millicera's like, yeah, I was in a bad spot this afternoon. My mental health was in shambles. I wonder if you could relate. And I was like, I'm going to fucking leave. And then Ramshalan goes, she should be executed, my lord.
Whoa. Calm down.
I don't know who this guy is. Ramshalan busts into the scene and goes, she should be executed, my lord.
Whoa, you jumped on that so fast.
And Rand is like, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you?
You know what? I'd be the funniest king of the world if I were Rand, because it just could have gone like, whoa, and just said that until he left. Whoa.
And
whoa.
Rand turns to Millicera and he's like, what do you think?
Whoa.
Should I kill you? And she just kind of stares back at him and is like, well, maybe. And he goes, no.
Whoa.
But instead, he locks her in the dungeon.
Wow.
And Ramshalan is thrilled.
Wow.
And Luce Theron is like, you do understand.
You do understand. Oh, if Grendel had sent the messenger, he'd be all fucked in the head anyway. He would be like, anime battles in the sky are a totally normal thing that makes sense in the metaphysics of this world.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to cut that.
No, do not. Leave it in.
All right.
Let them know. They need to know. The people need the truth. You know what? I think the fucking 17 years we spent on the slug, it broke us.
Yeah, they did.
I think we're forever changed.
You know what's funny? I love that scene. I love the end of book 2. I think it's fucking awesome.
You're just mad that people are giving Brandon Sanderson shit about the metaphysics.
I just wish people would be consistent in what they complain about.
That is never going to happen.
No, of course it's not. It's not how shit works. So I'm just kind of like, you're going to get hung up on metaphysics. Let's talk about anime battle in the sky. Do not talk to me about animal battle. That's not an invitation to debate with me about anime battle in the sky.
I feel like you and I are pretty consistent, actually, in our beliefs and worldviews.
Yeah, I'll say, like, that doesn't make sense, but it's cool. The only thing I really get hung up on is decimate and different from. And I acknowledge I'm wrong about one of them.
Language is always evolving, Gus. You have to accept
I
You have to accept that linguistic drift exists.
I have. It still annoys me.
But you just... Why are you annoyed by it? Just simply do not be.
All right, so...
It's very simple. I don't care about most things.
So Rand...
I care about the treatment of people.
Yeah.
And consistency in messaging.
Rand is like, oh yeah, that messenger would be completely fucked up because of compulsion. And then Rand is like, we got to figure out, find anybody else who's had a messenger. And Ramshalon goes, they will be found, Lord Dragon, because this guy is such a fucking kiss ass.
Whoa. Shh. I need you to shh.
And Rand starts thinking, is that to me or Ramshalon?
I need both.
Both.
I need Ramshalon or whatever his name. Ramshalon. Ramshalama Ding Dong. I need Ramshalama Ding Dong to fucking calm down right now. Like, just take a seat. Have you ever met someone who's just so wound up you just want to go like, and this is coming from me, but you just want to go like, but you know that would probably get you screamed at because of who they are as a person.
So Rand goes,
Do you not understand what I'm talking about?
I'm so sorry. No, I do understand what you're talking about.
You didn't listen to any of it.
I did. It took me a second for my brain to catch up.
You got too soothed by the shushing.
I got really soothed, and I had to keep talking or I would fall asleep. Rand, you were correct though. If Nynaeve set up the meeting with the Shan Chan as hoped, then Rand could leave Ered Daman soon after. He hoped to leave them with a king, hoped to find and kill Grendel, but he would settle for peace with the Shan Chan and food for these people. He could not solve everyone's problems. He could just force them.
Why do you have to do the Shan Chan one?
Into abeyance long enough for him to die at Shaiol Ghul and thereby leave the world.
You're not going to force them into abeyance by being dicks to them,
to break again when he was gone?
That just causes uprisings.
So many things to balance. So many problems. He couldn't fix them all. He couldn't. And Nynaeve was like, you're really not good at what you're doing right now. You're kind of fucking it up. And you're like, also the whole land is going to die thing, that's fucked up. And he goes, He goes, he's your friend, Rand. Light, and what of Perrin and Matt? Do you know where they are? What has happened to them? This is interesting. Colors swirled before his eyes, revealing an image of Perrin standing by a tent with Galad. Why was Perrin with Galad, of all people? And when had Elaine's half-brother joined the White Cloaks? The colors changed to Matt, riding through the streets of a familiar city. Camelin? Tom was there with him. So what does this tell us?
Matt and Camelin and Perrin and Galad are together?
The timelines are completely fucked up because Perrin is objectively nowhere near Galad right now in this book.
Oh.
And Matt is objectively nowhere near Camelin right now in this book.
I'm not mad about it. They could have gatewayed.
No, they can't.
Why not?
They don't have... there was a problem with that, as I recall.
Well,
because they're going to this... we left their plot with somebody is sending out messages asking for us, and we're going to this village to investigate.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. It's not a big deal. I'm just pointing out that the timelines are desynced, and I think it's funny.
Because Robert Jordan spent all that time trying to synchronize them?
He did, and then Brandon immediately desynchronized them because he didn't give a fuck about it. So He goes, they live. How do you know? I simply do, and they'd better remain alive. I'll have need of them both before this is over. Rand, they're your friends. They're threads in the pattern, Nynaeve. I barely know them anymore, and I suspect they would say the same thing of me. Don't you care about them? Care? What I care about is the last battle. What I care about is making peace with the light-cursed Shanshan so I can stop bothering with their squabble and get to the real battle. Besides those cares, a pair of boys from my little village are meaningless. And Ramshalan is like, this is a lot even for me, and he kind of backs away. Oh, there's some kind of big flying bug in here. What the fuck is that? God damn it, it's too late for that. Ugh. Okay, well, as long as it doesn't come over here.
Just leave it in here and deal with it in the morning.
I'm gonna.
I can't possibly be bothered with that.
But if it flies into my face, I'm gonna have to tell it how I feel about anime battles.
Oh no, I just got this image of you bursting into a bunch of them.
Oh, don't do that. Okay. I'm really sorry I keep going on about this. Okay. Oh, and he goes...
You should be, because I'm tired.
She goes, oh, Rand, you can't go on like this. This hardness within you, it'll break you. I do what I must. This isn't what you must do, Rand. You're going to destroy yourself. And then he spins around and points and goes, would you end up exiled like Cadsuane, Nynaeve? I will not be played with. I'm done with that. Give advice when it is asked for, and the rest of the time, do not patronize me. And she's like, oh my God. And then he's like, damn, I thought I had my anger under control. Better mash that shit into a little cube and push it all the way down again. That'll work. Honestly,
if a friend talked like that to me and didn't apologize, we wouldn't speak again.
Yeah. And then he kicks everybody out, and he's like, all right, I just got to hold myself together for another 2.5 books, and then I can die. And that's the end of chapter 31. I think we're going to finish this recording in the morning. All right. I'm rested now, relatively.
All right.
Allie, chapter 32. Rivers of Shadow.
Yes.
Nynaeve chapter. What'd you think?
I thought it was good.
Do you have any notes?
I
for chapter
do.
32, Rivers of Shadow.
I do. Give me 2 seconds.
Give you 2 seconds. All right.
Nynaeve, it's been a hot sec.
It has. Quite a long time.
Ghosts?
Yes.
Ghosts.
The epitome of ghosts. That's not the right button.
Ghost funeral.
Ghost funeral.
Nynaeve goes, like, they're blaming the Aes Sedai, but at least they're not blaming Rand. And I'm like, oh no, they're definitely also blaming Rand.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Although they're mostly
they said
blaming...
it last chapter.
Yeah. They're blaming Rand because he came to town and suddenly the food got worse.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why I said this, but I said, not you, uncomfortable.
I have no idea either.
Mm-hmm. I must have not completed what I was going to say there. He's trying to Taviran at people. That's a terrible idea.
It's a horrible idea.
This dad is on my last nerve.
Yeah, he's doing the most. And it's funny. I really like a lot about this chapter because it shows how far Nynaeve has grown. Because I feel like way back in the day, she'd be like, don't you fucking touch my children with those weaves. Except to heal well, I guess in the first book, she was like, okay, heal the near death. But still, I don't trust it.
Mm-hmm. No, she's come a long way. I mean,
big Nynaeve
how she's handled that interaction with Rand, too. Because I'm pretty self-actualized at this point. But if someone said that about my husband, I would kick their ass.
Mm-hmm.
He better not see her as one of those irrelevant manipulators. Oh, she goes, maybe he also sees me as one of those irrelevant manipulators like the Aes Sedai. And I was like, he better not. You're his childhood friend. He better not.
As you've reminded us, you used to spank his ass.
Mm-hmm. LOL, damn, Nynaeve. Because the mom says thank you. And she's like, don't be an idiot next time. And I'm like, what were they supposed to do?
Go to the Aes Sedai, I guess. But also... there's not a ton of them. And it's also probably like, well, they won't want to see us. But I understand. I understand both sides of this.
Yeah. So they think the Aes Sedai are doing the Beatles. Because they got all worried about something. And I was like, oh, they think the Aes Sedai did the Beatles.
Well, there's a ton of bubbles of evil happening in the town right now. People are dying because beetles are boring out of their skin. People are bursting into flames and all this other stuff. And I think they're like, well, there's magic women in town. So that's a rational conclusion.
I suppose
which,
so.
you know, I get it. That's fair.
And I said, antifreeze in the Gatorade.
Why?
They've been poisoning
Oh, that. Yeah, okay.
the person. And then I said, I'd look at the alchemist's assistant.
And you absolutely, I'm going to use the keyboard to touch
I was
this.
like, means, motive, and opportunity.
I shouldn't have used the keyboard. I missed everything. Okay, dive in, I guess.
A brilliant deduction, Watson.
Very much. Chapter 32, Rivers of Shadow. Nynaeve stood on the broad wall around Bandar Eben, looking down over the darkened city. The wall was built... Who's rested? Not me. The wall was built on... Oh, my God. The wall was on the inland side of the city, but Bandar Eben was built on a slope, so she could see out over it. Okay. So, what's going on?
So she's kind of walking through the refugee people.
Well, first she watches a bunch of ghosts have a ghost funeral.
Well, there you go.
And she talks to some Aes Sedai, and they're like, whatever, it's just ghosts. And then she talks to one of the Ashaman, he's like, yeah, whatever, it's just ghosts. Which is hilarious to me that we've reached a point where the response to ghosts is, yeah.
Well, they're not doing anything nefarious.
They're doing literally nothing. They're just there. Except for the one time that the ghost city ate the man.
So don't go into the ghost city, is what the lesson we've learned from that. Otherwise...
It's just ghosts.
They're just ghosts, whatever. If they're not bothering us, we don't need to bother them. And what else is there to do when you're a ghost than host a ghost funeral?
Do you think they take turns popping in and out of the coffin?
I think so.
That would be kind of fun. It's like that episode of The Good Place.
Right?
Yeah.
You're like, all right, we're gathered here today. What episode of The Good Place are you thinking?
There's an episode of The Good Place where they do their own funerals.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
I forgot about that episode. I need to rewatch that show.
Good show.
Yeah, it's great.
So yeah, she does this, and then she's like, all right, you know what? I gotta...
Talking when you have a relaxed jaw is so weird.
Allie discovered recently she's had her jaw clenched for the past 30 years.
I think I shared that
I'm
earlier.
repeating it just
Did
in
I?
case you didn't. Yeah, she discovered she's had her jaw clenched for 30 years and had not
Because I didn't know that you're
separated
supposed to
her
have
jaw for
space
30 years. So now
between
she's
your
going
teeth.
through a lot of revelations about how to hold her head.
I'm having to relearn how to do everything with this relaxed jaw.
It's nice,
I have
isn't
to
it?
relearn how to talk. I have to relearn how to smile, and I have to relearn how to laugh with a relaxed jaw.
Are you saying you need
It's
to learn to
really
laugh and
weird.
cry again?
Kinda. It's
Do we need to
really
call
weird.
Cadsuane?
Yeah, and
All right.
also I can't stop crying. My acting teacher said that's normal.
Yeah, that is normal. You've unblocked a bunch of blockage.
He said it will
You'll
regulate
balance
out
that
eventually.
out. Don't worry.
But if I start crying for no reason on this podcast,
That's
you'll
why.
know why.
All right, so Maurice Corelle and Cadsuane are talking about things, and Nynaeve is also talking with them about these things and about Rand and what to do about it. And most of them are bitching about Rand, and Nynaeve is like, hey, he's a pain in the ass, but also he's got a lot going on, and he's doing his best, and, he has to make peace with the Shan-Chan.
No.
And he's got to do this other stuff with Grendel and all this. How many books until we get to peace with the Shan-Chan and Grendel?
Well, we don't have very many books left.
Yes.
We've already killed a Forsaken in this book, but we don't have any books left to kill them all.
We have? Oh, yeah, we have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Shamrock.
she died, didn't she? Yeah.
Yeah. Permadead. So I don't know. I guess I'm trying to think if there are any other climactic things that we're building up to right now. I guess
Well, you
the
think
White
the
Tower
Shan-Chan are going
stuff.
to, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've said they're going to do that.
I'm thinking peace with the Shan-Chan.
What about
that happens
you think Moiraine Rescue Chap is coming? There's Perrin learning more about wolves you think is coming.
Uh-huh.
There's Lan attacking the border, the gap of Tarwin's Gap you think is coming.
Mm-hmm. All of that is coming.
Elaine kind of got her shit in order.
Elaine did get her shit in order. We're proud of her. Yeah, I'm thinking... Well, and there's whatever's going on with Galad and Perrin, and whatever's going on with Matt being at Camelin.
They already said they were angling towards Camelin. Mm-hmm. Kind of.
Yeah, but now he's there.
But now he's there. Well, he will be there, apparently, eventually.
Well, okay, so what I'm thinking is that we have... I think we're going to kick Moiraine Rescue maybe back to the next book, which upsetting, but I'll allow it. I think this book will be largely White Tower Shan-Chan stuff.
Okay. So maybe next book we deal with Grendel?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Grendel, Moiraine.
Peace with the Shan-Chan.
Grendel we could maybe slot into this book, but Moiraine is next book, I think.
So Cadsuane, Maurice Corelle, and Nynaeve are talking, and Nynaeve leaves, and Cadsuane is looking at her, and she can tell that Cadsuane's kind of pissed off at Maurice and Corelle. And then Cadsuane looks at Nynaeve and just kind of, they hold each other's eyes for a while, and Cadsuane nods and then turns back to the conversation, and Nynaeve's like, what the fuck was that?
Respect, I think.
Yeah, I think it was respect, dude.
Yeah,
I think Cadsuane respects Nynaeve.
I think Cadsuane respects Nynaeve. Big banner day for Nynaeve.
What to do about Rand, then? He didn't want Nynaeve's help or anyone's help, but that was nothing new.
Jesus, my voice is different.
He'd been just as stubborn as a sheepherder back in the Two Rivers, and his father had been nearly as bad. That had never stopped Nynaeve the Wisdom, and so it certainly wouldn't stop Nynaeve the Aes Sedai. She'd wrangled Coplans and Congers. She could do the same for trumped-up Rand al'Thor. She had half a mind to stride to his new palace and give him an earful. Except Rand al'Thor wasn't just any Coplan or Conger. Stubborn folks back in the Two Rivers hadn't had Rand's strangely menacing aura. So she's trying to figure out what to do about Rand and how to deal with Rand and how can she get Rand to listen to him and...
Tell him to stop being a dick.
Oh, I like this. She'd believed that he would kill Cadsuane if he saw her face again, and thinking of the moment still gave her shivers. Surely it had been her imagination, but the room had seemed to darken distinctly at that moment, as if a cloud had passed over the sun.
Okay, so it is Taviran, the cloud thing.
It seems to be. Okay, so the refugee kid, give me the rundown on this.
So she's walking through this group of refugees?
Yeah, refugees mostly.
Mm-hmm. And she hears something.
Refugees and poor people, yeah.
She hears someone cough, and she immediately goes, who's coughing? And it turns out to be this child that is ill, and she's like, what the hell? He's like near dead. Why didn't you go to an Aes Sedai? And the dad is all weirdly hostile, and she's like, move. I'm going to save his life. And then she does. And he's still not particularly nice about it. He's just kind of cowed. And I'm like, an apology would have been nice, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then and then the mom apologizes. And she goes, don't apologize. Just tell everyone you know to go seek out the Aes Sedai's help. Also, you're all idiots.
Yeah. That's basically it. It's a nice little interlude.
But you go, the PR was maybe not the greatest.
No, but she saved the kid's life.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Which is good PR. Saving a child's life is pretty good PR. The best PR, probably.
Nynaeve halted, lantern light illuminating an empty street before her. There was one person who had managed to work with Rand while at the same time teaching and training him. It hadn't been Cadsuane, nor had it been any of the Aes Sedai who tried to capture him, trick him, or bully him. It had been Moiraine.
Mm-hmm.
So, thoughts on any of that? We talk about Moiraine at all and how much you love her or anything?
I do love her. She's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
So I don't want to just spend too much time circling around
we need to go get her
the way
is
that...
what we need to do. I'm getting impatient.
I don't want to spend too much time just circling around how Nynaeve thinking about Rand. Anything else you want to talk about on her kind of musings on how to help Rand, what to do about Rand? I love that she is back in the game, and I love that she's like, I need to fucking try to fix my boy here.
Yeah, thank God she's back in the game. We've needed her this entire time.
Not that she was gone, but like she wasn't really active for a very long time.
Actively, no, she was not.
She was a battery for the cleansing. I like that she was there, but she didn't really have any agency in that. So it's nice to see Nynaeve acting with agency again.
Yeah, it's nice to see Nynaeve doing anything again.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Cadsuane's giving her respect, which is awesome.
Deserved.
Can't wait for that in the show. Nynaeve Cadsuane combo.
Being a king really wasn't all that different from being mayor in the Two Rivers. The mayor needed to be respected and liked. The wisdom in the women's circle could do the difficult tasks, such as punishing those who overstepped their bounds. The mayor, however, needed to be loved. That led to a civil and safe town, but how to show that to Rand? She couldn't force him. She needed to get him to listen to her in another way. And then she makes up a plan, and what is the plan?
I don't remember.
I'm going to figure out where the fuck Grendel's at.
Where Grendel's at. Which, good plan.
How does she go about this?
She decides to go to the servant of the woman who had the man tortured to find out where, and then she finds out where the torture place is. She goes to the torture place. It fronts as an apothecary type deal.
Candle shop.
That's it.
A chandler, but that's in this, it's primarily a candle shop.
Okay, so it fronts as a candle shop. She goes to the back. She finds the lady.
Yeah, Milisair's there.
She's like lying on the ground. And Nynaeve's like, oh man, she looks rough. and she interrogates the guy. She does that very deftly.
This is all very well. This is the thing. Rand again is like Nynaeve or temper out of control, but I'm like, Nynaeve hasn't blown up at somebody in a minute.
Nynaeve has grown a lot more than Rand has.
Rand has grown in a different direction and
Rand
a less desirable
in
direction.
A dumb direction.
Rand has grown in a stressed out and painful direction. Nynaeve has like blossomed.
I understand why Rand has grown in this direction. I'm just saying he needs to see some counterpoints. Hopefully Nynaeve can help. But so she goes and she interrogates them a bit. The guy just happened to die, like right as Rand asked for him.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, that's suspicious. And they insist that that the torturer didn't do anything untoward to hasten that death. So, and this is interesting too, because Nynaeve has this whole thing about like torturing and killing and stuff and how dumb it is. And it is.
Which I also
She's
like
right.
because we've established with Semirog that torture and healing are very close to one another. They're just kind of opposite sides of two things. And the way that Nynaeve is so completely disgusted by torture and the causing of pain, whereas Semirog is so completely drawn to it. Like, I know that Nynaeve and Megiddian are kind of the two that are paired more right now in the books, but there's definitely room here for a parallel between these two as well.
Well, I do think that there is a possibility that they may combine Semirog and Megiddian
On the show, yeah, it's very possible.
Which, if they did, it
would line up with this.
with
Yeah,
all
with
of
Nynaeve
my
and-
theories about how they're going to kind of do one-to-ones with the Forsaken and our main characters.
Yeah.
But so then she does that. She realizes, what's her name? Rich lady.
Milicer Chadmar.
Milicer Chadmore has been poisoned.
Yeah.
Probably what led to the death of the other guy.
Yeah.
And immediately I said, look at the apprentice, because he's the odd man out here, and he tried to run when they came, which felt suspicious. And I turned out to be right about that one.
Yeah. That's exactly what happens. You nailed it. Good work. I don't need to. Yeah.
And then they catch him.
I think the there's not a, I don't know. Let's talk about that a little bit philosophically. It's very plot forward, which is great and fine. Just means there's not a ton for us to interrogate with it. Although there is some, a lot about Nynaeve's character, a lot about kind of the way she's interfacing with the underclass. Most of this chapter, frankly, is more stuff that I'd rather talk about with respect to like Nynaeve and the evolution of her character and the fact that she is now interfacing directly with people as an Aes Sedai. Like, that's what really struck me about this chapter more than anything to do with its plot, was that, and she says it herself, she's really turned herself around from being Nynaeve the wisdom to Nynaeve the Aes Sedai. And she's really adopted that Aes Sedai kind of mentality that but unique to herself, I guess, where she's not saying like Aes Sedai should be respected and revered because they're Aes Sedai. It's not that. She's saying like Aes Sedai should be respected and revered because of how we can help you, which I think is a really critical difference between the way that Nynaeve and probably also Elaine and Egwene approach the position of being an Aes Sedai versus the way that a lot of the more tenured Aes Sedai in the books seem to have been approaching the Aes Sedai, which is that it's just like the old girls club, you know? Like, it's interesting when you think of the definition, the translation of Aes Sedai being servants of all, right? Because that's what it is in the old tongue, is servants of all. And in the Age of Legends, there's much more emphasis on like the Aes Sedai as being these people whose job it is to kind of steward the world. Whereas when you get into Eye of the World and a few other earlier books and a lot of the older, again, Aes Sedai, the overwhelming opinion on Aes Sedai is that they're these meddlers and they're these politicers and they're these people who you can never really trust to be looking out for anything but their own best interests. And think that also kind of plays into Rand's distrust, of course, but then the fact that Nynaeve is now taking her role as an Aes Sedai to be like, I should be going out to help people under any circumstance, is such a wonderful reclaiming, I guess, of that original intention of what an Aes Sedai is. She's not a traditional Aes Sedai in the sense that Rand considers her, would consider one to be, which is to say a schemer and a manipulator, but she is probably closer to a traditional Aes Sedai than almost anybody else.
What the point of the Aes Sedai was.
Yeah. I any thoughts on, I don't know, Nynaeve, her character, her approach to this situation? I have read the next couple of chapters in preparation for the next episode we're going to record in like an hour, and there's a lot more of this in the next chapter, so we
Right.
can talk about it more then.
Right.
Anything else from you on this right now?
I really appreciate just the opportunity to show Nynaeve coming into her own as a leader,
Yeah.
because I think before she had a lot of struggles with the fact that people didn't take her seriously.
Yeah. And that's like gone now.
And I think there's this thing of if you take yourself seriously, it doesn't really matter whether someone else does.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
They'll learn to take you seriously if you take yourself seriously. And like taking yourself seriously, not in a like, let me be a humorless,
Pompous ass.
ass. But I mean, one time it was really interesting. Gus and I were talking about arrogance versus confidence and how I struggle a lot with that because, I don't want to be arrogant, but I do want to be confident. And Gus said, well, knowing your worth and your skills does not mean that you don't appreciate everyone else's.
Yeah, that's, I think, a big difference there.
Like, you can acknowledge that everyone is talented. You can acknowledge that everyone is smart. You can acknowledge all of those things and still think that of yourself. Whereas arrogance is that you think you're better than everyone. It's not that you think that you're better than everyone. It's that you're appreciating your talents and the talents of everyone around you.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And I was like, oh, that's life-changing. I've had a lot of life-changing revelations the past few years.
You have.
Several
It's
of
been
them
fun.
have just come from you.
Yeah. Well, same. Yeah, I think you've distilled that down really well, is that it's confidence versus arrogance.
Yeah, and there's this clear, I think she was playing, like part of her whole thing was a lot of the rage and a lot of the and the inability to control her rage and the reactivity and all of this stuff came from an insecurity that she had in herself, where like people were doubting her abilities and stuff. But I think to a certain extent, the reactivity to that comes from you fearing they're right.
That's part of it, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas we see these two people clearly doubting her capabilities in terms of her ability to take care of their child. And all she does is go, move.
Yeah, I got it.
I got it. And she's leading this whole expedition on her own with no doubts as to her ability to get this done. And I think...
Yeah, not till the end when it appears to go pear-shaped and she's like, ooh, this might have been a bad idea.
Well, yeah. But,
And then it doesn't. And then she figures it out anyway.
Yeah. But it's like, I don't think that I think there is a internal peace with herself and an internal knowledge of herself that is coming across, like that has led to this confidence. She understands who she is. And yeah, I think it's really impressive. I like this journey for her.
Me too. I think it ties in as well to... She talks about how when she's first talking to, I think her name is Laurel, the docent, the head servant. I don't really feel the need, Laurel. I don't feel the need to really read through all of this because Allie recaps the plot of it really well, and it's good. And she's like grabs soldiers. She's like you, and you come with me. She gets the servants to answer the right questions. She has all this wisdom now as the wisdom of the wisdom and the wisdom of the Aes Sedai. She's got triple the wisdom. Double the wisdom, I guess. And, she confidently goes into this shop and like arranges this whole thing, as you said. But one of the other things that happens when she's interrogating Laurel at the beginning, the head servant, she's scared shitless because it's like 2 a.m. and one of the Aes Sedai just called for her. And she goes, you understand that Aes Sedai don't lie, right? Okay, great. So you'll believe me when I say I don't suspect you of having done anything wrong. That's not why you're here. And she thinks to herself, most Aes Sedai can't lie. I can. And a lot of them actually look down on me for not having sworn the oaths. And she says, that's actually bullshit, because I think the fact that I haven't sworn the oaths, but I don't lie, makes me even more of an Aes Sedai, because I don't need an oath to force me not to lie.
Mm-hmm. But see, I think that's the inherent difference in the Nynaeve that was in book 1 versus the Nynaeve now, is that the opinions of the collective don't bother her
not nearly as much as
they used to. Like, she is confident in herself and her abilities and who she is. She doesn't need to impress people.
Yeah, she's just moving through life with an assuredness, and she's not trying to get into Rand's good books so she can like get credit or anything or get her opinions heard for her own gain. She's trying to get into Rand's good books again because she's like, he needs my help.
And he does.
And because he's going to break himself in half otherwise.
He needs people around him who he can trust.
Yeah.
And he needs to have a pretty big reality check about how he's treating people, because they're not going to continue to follow him if they don't have confidence that he is ultimately working in their best interests.
And I really appreciate the way that Nynaeve and Elaine and Egwene all have matured into, God, it's been so many books, man, have turned into these really pure embodiments of what an Aes Sedai is, but each of them in a different kind of way, you know?
Yes.
Egwene is these resilience and dedication to an ideal. Elaine is leadership, so is Egwene, but in a different way. Leadership and confidence and politicking and maturity. And Nynaeve is like pure servant, but not servile. There's a difference between being a servant and being servile, I think. She's not obsequious. It stems from her compassion.
Yeah. She has an innate compassion for others and their suffering, and she is striving to alleviate as much suffering as she can.
Yeah.
And I think that's really admirable, because it's easy in this world to get compassion fatigue.
Oh my God,
when things are falling apart all the time.
We were talking about that the other day. Compassion fatigue, empathy fatigue being no matter who you are, if you are constantly, particularly in a professional position where you have to be extending empathy to other people, no matter how good of a person you are, eventually you're going to get to a point where you can't do it anymore and you need to stop for a minute. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It's like your body burns out on being empathetic.
Yeah.
And everybody's got a different threshold for that. And part of that's also, I think, why, people in certain medical fields and social workers sometimes have such high rates of burnout. It's because it's really, really hard to feel that much empathy all the time, year in, year out.
And you feel guilty spending time for yourself and taking care of yourself. But you have to, this is why they say in these times right now that it's important that we're putting our oxygen masks on ourselves first before helping others. There's a reason for that. It's because you're no good to anybody,
right,
if you are not caring for yourself first.
Right. And that they say that if you are in one of those positions, you have to be hyper aware of empathy fatigue, because if you start to burn out on empathy, it takes a very long time to undo that, and you're no good to yourself or anybody. So, I just love, by the way, if you like compassion and empathy and caring for others in fantasy novels, may I recommend a little series called The Malazan Book of the Fallen? It's a lot of that, and it's also really fucking heavy and dark. Anyway, moving on. It's also here, of course.
Do you love Malazan?
No. We did this in the first... Remember the first half of this episode when I was unhinged and I kept yelling about anime battles in the sky, and now we're having a detailed discussion on empathy fatigue?
I think that's the duality of this podcast
love
that people come here for.
Doing this. I love this fucking podcast so much, he says, patting himself on the back, not now. We're just like, I just love coming on here and riffing and saying stupid bullshit and then being like, have you seen that that TikTok? I think he's either an Australian or a New Zealand politician. He goes, I think people should be inclined to their own sexual proclivities. I mean, let 1,000 blossoms bloom as far as I'm concerned, but I'm not going to waste any time on it, because every day 3 people are torn in half by an alligator. You've seen that one?
Yes.
Where he just switches on a dime from being kind of goofy and happy to seriously talking about people being torn in half by crocodiles or alligators or whatever.
Yes.
That's the experience I hope this podcast leaves people with. Just get T-Bone broadsided by like a fucking serious conversation or a dick joke.
And you never know what you're
You never know which one's going to come next.
Are we going to make you laugh or cry? You never know.
Or skip 30 seconds. That could happen too.
That could happen
If you're just
too.
here for plot shit, you're having a time. Of course, if you're just here for plot shit, read the book. Okay.
Yeah, otherwise we're just describing what happened to you.
What else is there to cover? I feel like we've gone through an awful lot of what there was to talk about. Nynaeve's immediate impulse being to help the tortured people. She's just great. I just love her so fucking much. She's just the best one. I love all these characters, man. Like, some of them piss me off a lot of the time, but they're just great. Also, the fact that she's now commanding respect from all these people without even trying to. Like, she grabs these off-work servants and has them come with her so they can't turn anybody in or like alert people to what she's doing. And they're the ones who grab Curb, the fucking Chandler's apprentice. Because Curb pulls a runner and the guards are like, well, that's just the apprentice. We shouldn't worry about him too much. And they grab the thugs. Curb runs out the door and the 4 servants she brought with her, who don't really know her at all, but know that she asked them to come along, tackle him and throw him to the ground.
Which is great.
Because she's got this innate ability to make people trust her.
Yeah.
I love Nynaeve, man. This is the Nynaeve appreciation hour. Did I say appreciation? Appreciation hour. You want to say anything else? I feel like I'm just yapping now.
I feel like I'm so hyper aware of my jaw every time I'm talking. Right now. I am so hyper aware. I don't know how to speak anymore.
You're doing a pretty good job of it.
I'm realizing how much forehead tension I carry because of the tightness of my jaw. And now I'm like, oh boy, now I don't know what I'm doing with my face.
You're doing a great job. Well, for now, I guess that's all we've got. We'll be back in an hour for us with more.
I don't mean to be so hyper fixated on this, but it really was a shocking revelation that happened like 2 days ago.
Yeah, she's been going through it.
And all of a sudden, my face is different.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We have social media if you want to know what we've got going on. It's linked down below. We also have a Patreon if you want to support us that way. It's patreon.com/wheeltakes. If you do that, you can probably still see the reaction to the Gathering Storm Chapter 37-38 that we are recording soon, which will already be uploaded and done by the time this podcast goes up. That's for pint level patrons and above. Other than that, you can leave us a rating and a review if you want, which helps a lot. We've also got merch. And anything else, Allie?
Anime battle in the sky.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.